In this section, we'll be going over a few things regarding inspection and construction. That's going to be found in Admin Code Section 4-333. As I mentioned before, the school district is required to provide competent, adequate, continuous inspection, and that's going to be done through the project inspector. And the design professional, the architect engineer, including the structural engineer, and DSA all have to approve the project inspector for each project. And then the cost of the project inspection is going to be paid through the school board or the school district. Again, that's to avoid conflicts of interest. And the project inspector shall not have any current employment relationship with any entity, which is a contracting party for the construction, or any entity providing any services for the school district, except for services directly related to project inspection. And again, this helps to avoid conflicts of interest for the PI so that they can just focus purely on the inspection duties. I really want to emphasize that the project inspector is prohibited from any construction, scheduling, coordination, or supervision of activities for the project. So really the PI is only supposed to be performing inspection, not directing work or construction activities. Every project inspector on the project needs to have personal knowledge of all work that's completed on the project or its parts. So there's no work on the project that can get done without inspection by the DSA approved project inspector. No work can be done without the inspection card being issued, and that would be done on the form DSA 152. If work starts happening or construction commences prior to issuing the form 152, the PI should notify the DSA field engineer right away to address it. For really large projects, there may be a need to have one or more assistant inspectors. Assistant inspectors are going to be defined in DSA IRs A-8 and A-12. The use of special inspectors or assistant inspectors does not relieve the project inspector of their duties and responsibilities. So that's a key point to make. The PI still needs to be capable of performing all essential functions on the job, including the activities that are being physically capable, such as climbing, crawling, or moving around the job site to do the work needed, and then also maintaining professional behavior when dealing with all the team members. For each individual project, DSA approval is going to be required for the project inspector and any assistant inspectors that are used. In IR A-7, it clarifies that they have to establish to DSA satisfaction the following items: that the inspectors are all appropriately certified by DSA, that they have adequate knowledge and experience to perform the required duties for the project, and that they have sufficient time in order to fulfill all the required inspection responsibilities on the project. This item, the sub-bullet here in red with the diamond symbol, is new. So DSA's approval hinges on the PI showing continuous inspection required per section 4-342B1 will be provided, and DSA may require justification including the project inspector workload. And this is addressed in the admin code section 4-341D1. So again, that's a new item. It's just to make sure that the project inspector has the time available in order to do the inspection activities on the project. And again, it requires written DSA approval, and this would be done on the DSA 5-PI form for the project inspector and 5-AI for the assistant inspector. The assistant inspectors have to be approved by DSA for each project prior to performing any inspection work. So the key word there is prior to doing any inspection work, they have to be approved. It does require written approval. Again, that's going to be done on the DSA 5-AI form. This is going to be found in one of your resources tab. They all have to already be DSA certified as a class 1, 2, 3, or 5 inspector. And then the assistant inspector has to work under the supervision of a DSA certified class 1 or 2 project inspector. And when an assistant inspector is used, the PI still has to remain on site providing supervision of all assistants during all construction. So even if you have more than one assistant, that's fine, but the project inspector does need to stay on site and supervising each of the assistant inspectors on a project. In Admin Code Section 4-333.1 is going to define the project inspector certification classes. So we'll start with Class 1. This one, a project inspector is approved to inspect any project. So that one works for pretty much any project. Class 2, they may be approved to inspect any project except a project that contains one or more new structures or additions that has a primary lateral force resisting system of steel, masonry, or concrete. So other ones like wood and structures that aren't steel, masonry, or concrete would fall under Class 2. For Class 3, they're approved to inspect projects containing alterations to approved buildings, site placement of relocatable buildings, and construction of minor structures. So again, alterations. And then Class 4 is they're approved to inspect projects that contain site placement of relocatable buildings and associated site work. So pretty much just site placement of relos and then miscellaneous site work. It's typically one-story relos, and it's not two-story or large one-story modular buildings. Just want to clarify that. And the last two items, these are new. There's some new qualification options to sit for the PI exam. In general, those have become a little bit more relaxed to help encourage PIs to sit for the exam. And then Class 4, PI exam is no longer offered, but the classification is still recognized. So if you already have a Class 4, you're grandfathered in, and it'll still be recognized, but we're not going to offer exams for new Class 4s.